screams on Instagram, Utaire Goemkarano. So I thought I'd start with that. So Nilankur had told me to, give you all a talk about why I started what I started. I actually started somewhere around, I started this page last year, somewhere around September or October. But before that, I had a completely different page where I used to make cocktail videos. Which is why, yes, it's very interesting. So, which is why I also ended up pulling that crowd over here. So, well, since young, I used to always be, one is I was very attached to my state here, Goa. I've always loved it. And I still do believe that we are blessed. On one side, we have the hills and we have freshwater rivers, and we have the ghats, and on the other side, we have the sea. We, and in between, we have beautiful villages and fields. So we are blessed so abundantly, but we are also cursed by the greed of a few who are now destroying that. So all these years I've been seeing what has been happening, and I've seen how my land has changed. And when I still had that cocktail page only, actually I had started some small things which I never knew would transition into this until one day, finally something snapped in me and I did start this. I used to organize beach cleanups, cocktails and cleanups. So I used to coax the youngsters. Well, I couldn't give them cocktails on the beach because that would get the cops after me. So I used to give them mocktails on the beach, and we used to have cleanup drives. And yeah, so then we started. I started a new page, and I'm still doing that as well. Though now from the beach, I've moved more towards the villages as the entrance roads. So that is how I started. What was the final straw that broke the camel's back? I would say is I used to always one is I remember Goa like this in the early 2000s when I was a kid. My parents used to take me to the beach and everything. And I love the beach, by the way. I love to go for a swim at the beach. Even though I didn't know how to swim, I just learned how to swim last year. So there are these pages, I took their screenshots and I put them up. And I had started following them for quite a while now. These are on Facebook as well as on Instagram. One is Adle Goe and one is Vintage Goa. And they put up these old videos of Goa from the 90s, 80s or so. Some people even have of 60s. And it shows the Goa which my parents grew up in. Of course, the early 2000s is what I remember as well. If you see over here, this is Kolva Beach in the 80s, but even I remember that in the early 2000s, I used to go to swim and these trees were there and everything. This is Baga. No one can remember. I mean, you wouldn't think that this is Baga. You go there and it's a whole different scene now. So, hello. So you can literally see the changes that have happened, and I have seen these changes as well. Of course, I've not been blessed to see this side of Baga. I've seen only the other side, unfortunately. But so I've also seen that this thing has started coming south. And I keep saying that our South Goa is the final bastion, and we need to protect it. Otherwise, the same thing that has happened to the north is going to happen to our south. And I also did notice that there was a gap. And what was that gap? Is that our youth did not know what was happening. They knew, but they didn't know so well. They weren't so involved in keeping up with what is happening and what is being destroyed in our state. And it is important because my parents' generation are mainly the people, till today unfortunately, they are the ones who are holding fort and fighting the major battles, but they are fighting this for us because we are the ones who are going to inherit this destroyed Goa. It's not my parents. They've already got their Goa, they've had their share. They could sit back, lay back and be like, we're done. We fought our fight. Now it's up to you all. But they know that we'll inherit these problems, so they've been fighting. So my whole idea was to make the youth aware about what is happening, because it's the youth, once the youth stand up and actually speak up, that is what will shake these people and make them listen. So that was and is my goal. So the topics I roughly touch up on all these land. I touch on land and environment. So one, I thought I'd give you all a big view. I'm touching only in South Goa, what has happened, and this is the point where they're entering South Goa. So this is a huge construction that is coming up in Chikali. of 2,000 flats with a capacity of 11,000 people, and that village has a population of 21,000. The total area of that property is 1,14,500 square meters. How many of you know San Jacinto Island, Jacinto? Yes, so this is Jacinto over here, and this is that full property. This is the property called Purvankara that's coming up. This is much bigger than everyone talks about Bhutani, but this is actually much bigger. But somehow they're not getting much of the attention. This is the construction, it's already come up. There you can see that's Jacinto Island. So you've got a huge population. So it will bump up the population by 50%. And this is the status of the village over there right now, when they've not yet occupied that one construction. There are other constructions as well that are coming up. We still have Bhutani, we have another one, MVR and everything. So a village that cannot handle the garbage right now, how are they going to be able to handle such a bump in a population? That is the question. No one is asking. Except for, well, the few people. We also have, these are letters the locals over there gave me, where the residents are complaining about water issues. So that plateau over there where these constructions are coming up, they do not have piped water, PWD, the piped water. So mostly they are relying either on the bore wells or on the tankers for water. And the ones that are digging bore wells, they are eating into our water table, they are reducing the water table. Secondly is because of the garbage which I showed you in the previous slides, the water table, the water table over there in many areas has been polluted. Plus also some years ago, I think it was 2020 or 2019, there was an oil spill by Zuari over there. So some people had to close their wells because apparently you get petrol smell till today over there, the locals told me. So all these issues are happening, yet they are going up for these huge constructions. So that was an example of Chikali, and I always call Chikali the start point where this destruction has entered to the south. Same thing is happening, everyone is focusing on these big, huge, massive, that was a 2,000 flat project. But the same thing is happening in every village. It's not just there. These people are getting the media attention because maybe they're huge and maybe the people there are more active. But every village, including yours, whether it's north or south, has these constructions that you're not aware of. And most of the people are not aware of these projects that are coming up in your village. And one thing I wanted to touch on, and one thing I tell the youth is to, be engaged in is your gram sabhas and your panchayats. Question your panchayats because they are the most corrupt people. More than your MLAs, it is your panchas. And I'll tell you why. And I'll even give you an example of what I am still fighting for in my village, and they are not ready to do it. When a construction starts, the panchayat, your local body, whether it's panchayat or municipality, knew about it much before you do. So like months, sometimes even years before. Because after it gets clearance from the TCP office, they come to your local body who issue the construction licenses. And all these years, our locals used to think that it's the TCP that issues the construction license, which is not the truth. And all these because our local bodies fed it into their brains that, we have nothing to do, we are on your side. They are famous, all our punches love to throw this sentence around. I did it also in a video. They like to say, "Hum loka barabar hai." We also don't want these constructions. But then when you go to oppose those constructions, they suddenly become your enemy. I asked our panchayats to whenever a construction the file from the TCP comes to the panchayat office, to put up on the board for just multi-dwelling, because I'm not interested in people, locals trying to build their houses or whatever, but these multi-dwelling units, whenever this file comes to the panchayat office, just put it up on the notice board. let us know. Give us a survey number, give us a location of the property and how many units are coming up over there. Because we as locals, I'll say, Arey, that's right at the side of my house, and that is a low-lying area, that is a field. So you can stop this before they break ground. What happens now is people only realize that a construction is coming up once the sheets come in and once the JCBs move in. And that happens, once that happens, they go at they're so quick that by the time, within a month, they already have, at least they've dug the foundation, put up the pillars. And then after a lot of destruction is already done, they break, once they break that and everything, then waterlogging will start. So whatever issues, even if you manage to stop the project, some issues are still going to affect you anyway. So I asked them, just do this for us, but they refused. They refused, obviously they refused, because that is their money, this thing. When I told them this, they said, no, it comes from the TCP. When I corrected them that who issues a construction license, there was one of my local who was kind enough to give me his construction license. And I said, who is the signatory on this? Then they kept quiet. Now they started saying, no, secretary signs and we have no say. According to Panchayat Raj, they have a say. I counted them on that also. Then they're saying, no, if you don't sign within 30 days. I said, you have, it's not, they say that if you don't sign within 30 days, it automatically gets passed. I said, yes, that is true. It's deemed as passed. It goes to the BDO or something and deemed as passed. But you can send in your remarks and say that you can use proper reasons, reject it on proper grounds, like say that you have no proper access. And 90% of these places do not have proper access. The road is not wide enough. They build on proposed roads, which is not legal again. Or even if they do allow, before giving occupancy, they have to acquire that land and make that road wide enough. That is another topic or so, which is we have to touch on. Maybe if I have the time, I'll touch on that as well. Since I spoke of Chikali, I also thought I would talk about my own village. I come from Varca, and this is what happened. This is the worst hit ward in my village. This is called Langote. All this area, there used to be dunes, there used to be people, there used to be grounds where people used to play football and everything. And between 2017 to 2025, there's so many constructions that have come up over there. It's the same. I got this from Google Earth, the before and the after. I actually had a 2021, but I forgot to put that. But anyway, between 7 years, they've come up with so many constructions there, including another one that is coming up of 90 units. 90 units. And we are not as badly hit as the north as far as water goes, but we do not get proper piped water. Yet they're putting up these huge constructions. And when we question them, they keep saying, no, this, no, that, no, whatever. We also have some land filling that is happening again in my village only. This is the ward near Peda, which is again in CRZ. The locals called a flying squad and everything, but it got completed. Another example is, this is our creek in Varca. I had made a video on it actually about it being polluted. This is between the beach and the, well, it's a creek that goes into the beach, sorry, my bad. And of late it started getting polluted. You get this, I don't know what it is, some gunk that floats up and all. It looks terrible, smells bad or so. And now it's become even worse now with the rains. And since we were small, we used to always suspect that the hotels nearby are polluting it, dumping some pollutant or whatever. Panchayat refused to agree. So I had made a video about it, talking about how it's being destroyed and everything. That kind of went viral and all. It was inspected and everyone was saying, no, it's not polluted. So I asked them, did they do a test on that water? They said, no, yeah, the WRD is going to do it and everything. So I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I did do a test. And well, guess what? It was polluted. I submitted that to our local body, but till today they've not done anything, and I didn't get to add the latest video. I think some of you may have got a video on your phone, maybe some 3-minute video of one guy talking Konkani in Varca. No, maybe it's only stuck in Salset right now. It'll reach Baddes soon. But yeah, so it's become way worse. Until today they've not done anything. And they want to start another resort for that as well. And which is another thing which I've started in Varca. We've started a signature campaign because of this new resort that they want to come up. They were saying like, see, first of all, in our village, we have 7 resorts. 7 to 8 resorts we already have. none of which are running at full capacity. They're not like so full that, the people are like, they want to come to Goa and stay in Varca and there's no resort for us to stay. Nothing like that. So why do we need another one that is going to just add to this mess? So even the locals over there only had approached me. I had made a video about it once, but no one had said anything. Then the locals over there approached me saying, Baba, they've fenced this property up. We used to have a cross over there where we used to do our ladin. It was our traditional access to the beach and all. They blocked all that. And they blocked even the waterways, one of the waterways. So we started a signature campaign, all of us. The youth as well. We've gone ward to ward to call for a special Gram Sabha to reject that, asking them to not to renew their construction license because we do not want one over here. I started that, and of course I got some backlash from the politicians over there where they tried to say that, this guy is against development and everything, and locals will get jobs and all over there. All these taxi guys also will get their jobs, keep their taxis and all over there. So I had a meeting in the ward where this destruction is taking place, and I spoke to them and I said to them, see, we already have 7 resorts away, 7 or 8. It's already destroying so much. How many of our locals have a job over there? The jobs that they offer also are very low paying. 10,000, 15,000 a month, which no one can survive on. They do not keep your taxis also there. So because the taxi cars also were like, our taxis, I said, they'll not keep your taxis. You want to support it, but they're not going to keep your taxis there for sure. So what is it that is the benefit? Why do people come to Goa? People do not come to Goa to see a concrete jungle. They come over here because of our natural beauty and our culture. Why have tourists started coming south now when north used to be the hub? Because as I showed you earlier, what Baga was and what Baga is now. I also have a lot of friends who go drive down to Sindhudurg and all, Sindhudurg, Malvan and all that side, and there they said they met a lot of these tourists, the UK tourists used to come here, and when they mentioned to them that they're from Goa, and they say, oh, Goa used to be like this, what it is over here. So we stopped coming there because they messed it up there, so we come here. So as far as another resort, just because we build another resort does not mean that we're going to increase our tourism. It's going to be the opposite. Our tourism is going to drop. And then, of course, the environmental factors. But sometimes you need to coax people as well to tell them that if you don't want to think about Goa as a whole and environment as a whole, think of it at least your stomach is going to go because your business is going to go. So that put a stop to those guys over there. They didn't know how else to come to me. I also wanted to mention that, this is some data that I got. Goa lost 90 square kilometers of green cover. And the average size, my village is actually around 12 square kilometers, Varca. So we've lost 9 full villages of green cover in the last, how many years? I forgot, 10 years, yes. And yet we have politicians who want to say that, they are doing things to make Goa greener. And the reason they are, so blatantly lying to us and everything is because we refuse to question them. We refuse to stand up. No one is saying that, you can't make this statement. We have the data here that's contradicting it. So they are having a ball of a time saying whatever they want to say, doing whatever they want to do, because no one is standing up yet. Of course, I don't want to, sound pessimistic, but because it is starting, I can see that, now the youth also have started getting involved. I'll get to that later as well. I just put this data over here is about the temperatures rising. Everyone knows that the summers are getting even hotter now. 2 days it didn't rain our side actually. Yesterday and today morning it wasn't raining and it was terribly hot in my house. It was hot. I was feeling really hot. The days it rained I was feeling cold and I was under my blanket. One day it didn't rain, I was feeling so hot. That's because temperatures are rising. Another reason why I did this is also about the cultural charm. So we are not only being attacked on the environment front, we are also being attacked on the cultural front. Goa is a small state, yet we have such a diverse culture. Within the state itself, you go north, it's different. You come south, it's different. Even our language, Shashti Konkani, Bades Konkani, even Para has a different Konkani, that's the most sing-song way. So That is the beauty, that is what needs to be preserved. But they are now bringing all the things, like even if you see the, like I mentioned, good example is Porvorim. How it's being done up? Is it being done up, you know, to integrate with the beauty of Goa? Or are they just taking a copy paste of another model and bringing it over here? They are copying the Haryana model, Gujarat model and bringing it here. India as a country, the whole beauty of India is all over, there's different cultures. You cannot impose one culture everywhere. And if you do so, the land is so different, and that is why we have an issue of flooding. Of course, you go to Gurgaon and all, that's also flooding. So you already brought a failed model and you're trying to implement a failed model in a place over here. So how, that is stupidity. That's a very definition of stupidity as well, right? Repeating the same process in the hope of getting a different result. That's what they're doing. And we saw what happened this time in Mapsa and everything. I think most of you are from Baddes, right? How many are from Mapsa? Two. Are your cars still okay? Oh, but then that's where landslides happen as well. Okay. Yes, that is all going to start now, unfortunately. Unless we speak up, that's the thing. Like, people don't realize. Everyone likes to scream. They say, like, this guy is simply screaming, man. What's wrong with him? Just for a clout or something on Instagram, he's screaming. I'm not. And whatever I've said has been happening. They cut the trees, they cut the hills. Landslides have happened now in Goa. I'll talk about my village. We had sand dunes, beautiful sand dunes. I used to go as a child. We used to go to the beach. How many of you know Zuri Beach Resort in Varca? It's famous. It was Radisson before, now it's changed to Zuri. So on the side over there, there was a entrance to the beach, and there was not one, there were multiple sand dunes over there, and it was tall. Because I was small, I used to love climbing. I used to always ask my dad to take me to that beach because I wanted to climb on top of the dune, and I used to sit and I used to roll down. Now it's broken. It's broken. It's gone. They broke it. It came in the news also 2 years ago. The person who broke it, who was responsible for breaking it, was grilled at the Gram Sabha. Then what happened is some politicians got involved and it got hushed. The politicians only started the thing, and then they only hushed it up. The same people who started it. We know why, but yeah. So they cut that, and I have a lot of villagers living in the wards that are by the beach. We call it. It's Pada, and they called me even just on Monday. Last Monday, they called me up and told me to come and see where the water has reached now. Because there's no sand dune stopping the water from coming up further. It's come much further. And this dune was just cut 2 years ago. Last year also it came, but last year they didn't know me. This year also it's come. And they called me there to show me. And I said, I know it will happen. And still there are plans to cut even more. Like I mentioned, that new resort that is coming. Even in that property, there are dunes. And there also they'll mostly chop it off if they have their way. Why I started targeting the youth? Because a lot of our youth, for some reason, have been conditioned into thinking that we do not have any power with us. We don't. But our parents' generation, they know that they do. I think they still have that fire in them. And the reason I think they have that fire is because they lived through so many of these agitations. There was the Konkani agitation. When they were kids, they saw the opinion poll. Then one I like to give is the bus. How many of you traveled by bus as a kid? Yes. You fought for it. So yeah. So if you travel by bus as a student, as a kid, you've been paying half ticket. Half ticket. Our parents' generation, they fought for that half ticket. There were these students' unions that fought for this half ticket. Their names were, it was Edmund Antau, there was one De Costa, and some Knight. There were three student unions. They were very famous for it. And that time there was the bus union also. There was no Kadamba at that time. Public transportation was there. It was all private owned buses, and there was this bus union. And this bus union was really, really strong because the CM's own husband owned the buses. Shashikala Kakodkar, her own husband used to own buses. So they were a very strong, very powerful union. Yet our students, our youth, brought them to their knees. That today we are reaping the benefits. They protested. They used to block the roads They protested. Some places it did get violent in the sense that they started stoning. I'm not saying to do that, not condoning that, but they did all these things. They had the guts to do all these things, and because of what those things, the things that they did that time, we are reaping the benefits till today. That we have half ticket as a kid. If they didn't stand up that time, we wouldn't have it now. So the message that I want to send is that the youth have much more power, and all the leaders know that. Why all political parties have youth wings? Otherwise, they would not care about us. But they know that if the minute the youth mobilize, is the day that they cannot do anything, because the power is with the youth. Of course, unfortunately, and the reason I started is because I found out that a lot of our youth are not informed. Many of our people didn't even know how to file RTIs, our youth. They didn't know how to file RTIs, they didn't know what to do and all. Of course, I don't expect them to know the law and everything. That is because I jumped into this, so I've been involved with a lot of people that I've learned a lot of the laws as well. But yeah, simple things like that. But again, like I mentioned, the change is coming, and they are starting, because a lot of our own youth, after I made a presentation of this, a lot of my own youth in Varca actually approached me, and they've been helping me with the signature drive to call for the special Gram Sabha. All the youth, whoever I've spoken to, no one is for this. The only one or two that are for this destruction is because either their uncle is the MLA, or their father is the MLA, or they are involved in this construction, so they are, a little on the back foot. They're like, no, no, no. But every other person is like, no, because we see this destruction, we are not happy with it. They didn't know how to channelize that anger and the frustration, but now they are finally realizing, a lot of our people are starting to stand up. And one thing that I still do is I organize beach cleans and all, and now it's become, because of this page, it's become even bigger, and we've had much more success. So this is my last cleanup that I had in Varca. This was the beach entrance, and yeah, that's the garbage we collected quite a bit. In case you wanted me to see, this is all cigarette butts, and those were beer bottles. So you know what happens over there. But yes, what I wanted to say is that my whole thing is that we cannot sit quietly anymore. Otherwise, if we do, we're going to be destroyed. That is for sure. Our culture is going to be wiped out. As I mentioned, I said these huge constructions that are coming up, they are, now it's a little bit of a touchy subject, I would say, but they're not, our own Goans cannot afford to buy those over there. And of course, I'm not against anybody from outside coming in here or anything, but unfortunately, and no one can stop them either. I'll never say that. Unfortunately, 90% of the people who are buying these places, I know even in my own ward, in my village, the people who are buying this are these rough characters. They don't want to come here and integrate with the culture and enjoy the nature, enjoy the beauty. Those kind of people are always welcome. Those are the, progressive people who are not listening. These people are coming and they're doing, well, for the local term, dadagiri over here. We have a building that has come up in my ward, 40 units, out of which 38 are non-Goans. 2 are Goans. Those 38 people, they are all from the north, rough characters. One day their car was parked in the middle of the road over there and blocking the locals over there to go home. And these people have been living there for ages, whatever, centuries. These people asked them to move their car. They said something, it got into an argument, whatever. They finally removed their car and these people went home. Next day when they got up, their car was smashed. That is what I'm saying. That is why this whole divide is starting, because these people are coming, they are like, I bought this place, I'm the king of this place because I have money. You can't say anything. That is what I'm talking about, and that is what is happening, and that is what is coming over here, and that is what I mean by our culture is being destroyed. Another example I would like to give is also the communal tensions. Never before in Goa have we had communal tensions. Goa was known to be united. Until today, it's our locals are still united. But who are the ones who are putting that fire are not our Goans. And instead they are fighting with people who literally fought for the opinion poll. Those people they are targeting and everything. So that is what I mean, they are attacking us even culturally. And whatever our ancestors fought for this opinion poll to stay, to protect our culture and everything, is all going to be diluted, it's all going to be killed off. They couldn't merge us by land over there, but they're going to merge us now culturally over there. yeah, that's pretty much it. Any questions anyone wants